Okay, part four of Stevie Rocks. Hey kids, rock and roll, rock on. Part four of the Kinks. I didn't know I was going to go this long on this band, but I can't help it. Okay, I got up to Schoolboys in Disgrace, the RCA years, the theatrical Kinks from 1971, Muswell Hillbillies, Everybody's in Showbiz, Preservation Act 1, Preservation Act 2, Soap Opera, Schoolboys in Disgrace. That chunk of albums from 1971 to 1976, theatrical Kinks. Every album, sit down, listen to them in its entirety, from beginning to end, and just pay attention to the lyrics and just go along for the ride. You're in for a ride. Okay, now everybody complained. The critics complained. The thing Kinks are too theatrical. Enough with the theatrics. Enough with the Broadway shows. This isn't rock and roll anymore. What's going on? Make a rock and roll record with songs. Enter Sleepwalker, Arista Records, Sleepwalker. Solid album. It was the late 70s, so I kind of had a little bit of that Steve Miller FM airplay. It was a little bit commercial. I was almost a little bit disappointed in it at first until I realized, unbeknownst to most of the public who thought, oh, it's a great album with great songs. No, there's a theme. There's a theme. Ray Davies doesn't screw around. There's a theme in there, and it's sad. It's a very sad theme. I think that Ray was obviously an insomniac. He's a sleepwalker. It's just another full moon. There's a sleepless nights. There's at least 3 or 4 songs on that album that are about insomnia. And there's also another continuing theme about being life on the road. Life on the road. Sounds like a prison sentence. He was not happy. This is not a happy album. Before, he was trying to disguise his depression a little bit because I know he went through a couple of nervous breakdowns. Very depressed individual. This time, he was not trying to disguise it anymore. This is clearly a very depressing record. Even the front cover is depressing. And it's almost like he almost went a little too far with it. But it's okay. It's a great album. Songs have incredible hooks. Mr. Big Man, Sleepwalker, jukebox music. It's like he was he was succumbing to the fact that he was not well mentally as far as his depression goes. And that continued in the next album, Misfits. Misfits. He was coming to grips with the fact that the Kinks were not being recognized for their greatness. They were misfits. And not only did he admit he was a misfit, he reached out to the fans and said, you know what? I'm a misfit, and so are you. And we're all in this together. It was the most inclusive album he ever came up with. I mean, he was always in love with his fan base, but I think this album, Misfits, really included the band with the fans. It was a beautiful record, beautiful record. And then something happened. I don't know. 1979, they lost Mick Avery. He left the band, the drummer. I think that's when he left. He might have left after that. I'm not 100% sure. But 1979 was the low budget album. This album was a complete departure. It's like they turned it up to 11, right? They became a rock band, like hard rock, low budget, attitude. It was the punk era. It was just, they just wanted to be loud. They just said, you know what? Screw it. Let's just be loud. Ray let Dave turn his guitar up, and it was just a loud, in your face, screaming rock record. I don't know if there was a theme. There was a theme. The theme was basically the world is crappy, which was always his theme. But this was kind of like, it's your attitude. What's the matter with you? There's a lot of yelling and screaming, and he was kind of letting it out. It's a very cathartic album. I think after Sleepwalker and Misfits, when he was kind of like feeling way down, he just broke out of his shell. That was like a break out of his shell album. All right. So after that, they went full FM radio, hard rock, give the people what they want, State of Confusion, Word of Mouth. All of those albums had that. They just changed their style. They just changed their style like a lot, And I hate to say it, but I didn't really like it. They call it the arena rock '80s period arena rock Kinks because that's what they became. They started playing venues like Madison Square Garden and Nassau Coliseum. They were just loud. The drums were big. They kind of lost a little bit of that character that they had. The quirkiness was gone. They became an FM oriented hard rock arena rock band. There were songs in there that I loved, Better Things, Come Dancing. I'm not crazy about it. There were a lot of good songs mixed in, Art Lover, but Ray kind of it's like he stepped out of the limelight and he said to Dave, you do it. You want a rock band, you want to be a rock band. I'll write some decent lyrics. I felt like he gave up a little bit. I didn't, and that was kind of the beginning of the fall of the Kinks. And so those Arista albums, Sleepwalker great, Misfits great, low budget. I felt it turning. Give the people what they want. I mean, there's great songs on there: Around the Dial, Destroyer, Art Lover, Better Things, and then it's a solid rock album. Didn't feel like a Kinks album. It was way, way far away from Village Green and Lola and Arthur. It was like a different band. State of Confusion, Word of Mouth. Those are the Arista years. And then they were gone for a couple of years. And they came back. Part 5 coming up.